What up, everybody? What's happening? Happy Sunday. Happy day of the sun. What's going on with you? Come on, man. I was just going to be a bit informal today. I wasn't really going to go all out unless I got, good participation, then I might. But I'm just working on a document or actually a filing. So I said I'd go live today. So I just wanted to follow up and keep my word. And so here I go. Here I am. If you got something you want to talk about, you got a question that you want to ask, this is the opportunity I will extend. If not, that's fine too. I'll just continue on with my studies. Not a problem. If you've been paying attention, you know that we've been doing a lot of work. Lots and lots of work, revealing lots and lots of things. And not too, surprisingly, not too much participation. But you know what? It is what it is. I'm very shocked actually, because I really been this past week really been putting out a lot of things. I take stuff down after an hour or so. Well, I usually leave things up for a couple hours, and I'll take it down because obviously we don't want to put too much out into the public because you're supposed to keep public and private separate. We all know that. And so I've been taking stuff down. I will, I do extend it to the public for a short span of time. I'm trying to hang this up here. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, oh well. I'm not going to trip because I'm over here doing the study. Well, see if I can get it to hold. I'm over here doing my studies. So, but again, I wanted to keep my word. I said I'd go on. So I'm keeping my word. So you better come on. See if I can fix this. I don't know if it's going to stay up. So I know, some people might get upset about it or whatever, but what do you expect from me? I got to do what's in the best interest. Too many people are misguided. Hold on real quick. Too many people are misguided and have the wrong mindset behind the state and government and what have you. And I understand. I mean, I was there at one point in time. All the time meaning well, obviously, but nonetheless, misguided. Disenfranchised, whatever. The reason I say disenfranchised. Hold on, real quick. You're gonna get on my nerves. Hold on. Hold on, real quick. Stay right there. Don't move. Stay right there. You still there? Okay, good. You listen. But anyways, the reason why people are disenfranchised is because, and I'm actually working on this right now for a filing. The reason why people are disenfranchised is because they don't understand the rules of the game. Okay, and if you don't understand the rules to the game, you'll be on the outside looking in. Is essentially what has happened. Okay, you'll be on the outside looking in and wondering why the haves have and the have-nots obviously don't have. And that I contend is why people are disenfranchised with the system. Why, being perceived as haters or, that's why. Being see if this hater, oops, hold on. All right, we'll see if we get some participation today. If not, I'm going to go back to my studies. No skin off my back. But like I said, I've been really dropping significant information, and we've had little to no participation. Aside from a random comment every once in a while or something like that. But for the most part, people really haven't been showing up. I'm going to put my lapel mic on, and so it might go out for just a moment. It'll come back in. But I got to switch some settings here. Again, just in case people want to talk or you know, want to ask some questions or whatever. That's why I'm here today. Otherwise, I will not stay on here long. I said I put out plenty of information for you. And if you have, hold on. Testing 1, 2. Hold on real quick. Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2. Do me a favor, let me know if you can hear me in the comments section, please. Just give me a comment if you can hear me. I just put the lapel mic on. Hopefully it switched over. If you would be so kind, just give me a message in the comments so I can assure that you can hear what I am saying. I'll give maybe 5 or so minutes, 5, maybe 10 if I'm feeling generous or whatever, for people to pile on in. If no one does, then I'm going to go ahead and cut the feed and just get back to work. But I wanted to get on here and extend the opportunity for questions. Again, I've put out lots of hard-hitting information this past week. Didn't really get much in the way of participation, which again is surprising. Because of the level and potency of the content I put out. It's quite shocking, the revelations that were made and what have you. Again, I do understand that people are probably a little disappointed that, you know, I don't leave certain things out on the public anymore, that I'm requiring for access to the inside information. I'm requiring a membership over at our Patreon. But that's just the way it has to be. That's the way it has to be. We are, as I stated earlier this week, we're rounding the corner on actually exercising and experiencing that remedy. This is not meant for everybody to take part in. That's just the way it is. This journey here, you're going to have all kinds of people. You're going to have the people that have had an axe to grind with the system. You know, they want to see the world burn. They want to scorch the earth. You know, they're upset at the system for whatever reasons. You're going to have those type of people. You're going to have people that are out to spread misinformation and disinformation for their own nefarious purposes, to promote their agendas and what have you. You're going to have all kinds of people here. So we want to make sure that this platform is used for the right reasons. The information, the content is used for the right purposes, and that is not to take down or destroy the system. We are here for educational purposes. We are here to grow. We're here for the human, to restore the human condition. We're here to respect the groundwork as laid by the founding fathers, because they were the military that was stronger, and they conquered, and this is their system. And we are mere, or a lot of us are mere immigrants that came over, and your families came over, and we're lured in by the promise of gold in the streets, and that there's a lot of opportunities here, which is true. You know this to be true, right? Today there are a lot of opportunities here for you, but you got to be a go-getter. You definitely can't be lazy, right? That's not the way the system is established. Now, if you are lazy and you like things handed to you, then yeah, the system has something for you too, under the social welfare programs and what have you. And yes, there are wealthy elite tycoons and what have you, who profit off of your laziness, off of those that would rather rely on the system to provide for them, whether out of fear or laziness, whatever. There are those people, and there are those corporation business owners. You might say Bill Gates, you might say, list a whole bunch of them. But yeah, if you're going to be, listen, commerce, right? Think of business every day. All right, how does a business thrive? How does a business make money? It makes money off of the laziness of its customers, clients, and I don't mean that in a huge way to be demeaning. It's just the truth. Why is it that you may take a delivery of groceries to your home through a service? You'll pay a higher fee for that driver, Uber or whatever those companies are called, to drop off food to your house. Why is that? It's because you no longer want to do what we used to do back in the day, which is get dressed, hop in your car, drive down to the marketplace, and select your own groceries and bring them and deliver them back to your home, unpack and do all that. You don't want to do that anymore. So you found it more convenient, and you found value. Value is the amount that someone is willing to pay for a thing. So you will actually pay somebody else. You'll take your hard-earned money, that you slaved for 40, 50 hours a week, and you will literally give your money away to somebody else because you want them to do something that you no longer want to do. That's the system. That's the system. That's what you work to create, make fiat currencies so that you can pay somebody to do that which you no longer want to do yourself. So the only way to, if you live that way, the only way to obtain wealth, if you live in accordance with that situation, is to dial back on bleeding or spending or paying somebody else to do what you can do for yourself. You would literally have to do that. That would be how you can keep more money in your own circulation, because that's what it comes down to. It's not how much money, it's not how much money you make is the saying. It's how much money you keep. And that is the difference between the wealthy and us, and the ones, that are on the lower spectrum, if you will, of society. Okay, that's the difference. They learn how to keep more of their money. Just saying. All right. Little economical lesson for you. So anyways, again, what time is it? It's 11:25 Central Standard Time. I'll stay on here for another couple minutes. Nobody comes on. I will happily go back to my studies, which I'm doing right here, and continue. I am actually studying on the declaratory judgment. I've done a video on that, explaining the potency, the importance of it. Again, not much participation. I got a few comments on it from my staples, my people that are here with me regularly. And but other than that, no consultations or what have you, which is very it's disappointing. However, I'm learning that one thing is a lot of people just want new information. They don't really want to do anything with it. You know, they may aspire to, but in the end, they just don't do anything with it. And number two, people like to be in the latest trends. You know, so if you find yourself as one of those two, fine, enjoy. However, I do know that there are people that are interested in real change, real remedy. I mean, our whole society is in decay, and it's really the people's fault. I know people want to blame the government, but it's really not the government. It's really us. Remember, the government is inanimate. It's not even sentient. It can't do anything without us. That's the skinny of it. So to blame government is evil. Government, no, it's not. It's not government. It's the people in government. It's you. It's me. The citizenship, either doing something or not doing enough of something. That's all there is. And so a lot of times that's why we receive some of the blowback that we do when we try to do things in relation to the society, the community. Because when it all comes down to it, it's really just our own fault. It really is. Yeah, you can say, yeah, but evil men are in government, you know, make these decisions, do these things. You can say that all you want to, but really, they wouldn't be there if it wasn't for us. You know, it's a voting system. It's what they call a democratic system. You know, these people only get jobs when you give them a job. You're their employer. The governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. Consent of the government or governed. So whatever you consent to is what they're doing, what they're allowed to do. Now, I was going to say, yes, there is that faction of elitists or whatever who like to play gods, and they're pulling the levers and blowing the smoke and setting up mirrors and illusions and using word magic and other magic. You know, yes, that is happening. No doubt about it. The fires in Maui, a lot of people are speculating that there's something else going on there that, you know, whatever. Okay. So we know there's evil men out there and women. But nonetheless, there's more of us than there are of them. And that's just the raw truth. And so I guess I said all that to say, you know, we can put out information such as we do here at KnowledgeWell Media. I can put this out every day of the week. I can go live every Sunday. But it really, if the people do something or don't do something is the determining factor. That's what it is. And so the lack of participation, I mean, I visit other platforms. I hear what people are talking about. And matter of factly, I can state that none of them are on even close to the level that of information, the content, the facts, fact-based information, and what have you that you are afforded here at KnowledgeWell Media. And if I didn't study as hard as I do, or stay as committed as I am to KnowledgeWell Media, then I would be no better. So the defining element difference and distinction between myself or KnowledgeWell Media and the other platforms is just that. It's that I take the time to do in-depth, elaborate research study and stay consistent at it. So with that being said, you know, I've had to, you know, dial back on my presentations and whatever because of the lack of participation, the lack of support and whatever before. And so, and this is one of the reasons why I've resorted to going over to the Patreon, a subscription-based platform, so that I can obtain a greater level of support, so that my time is actually, there is actual value displayed by the patrons over at my Patreon. And so I definitely don't get that here. You know, we know that. I mean, literally, I can solicit for donations or whatever for a month straight and get absolutely no financial support here on YouTube. So I've understood that that's just what it is. I don't know why, because I believe, once again, the content that I provide here is unparalleled with any other platform. And people say as much. It's not just me tooting my own horn. So why the abysmally minimal amount of support financially and otherwise? I don't know. It's just the way of the beast, I guess. And I'm not really going to continue to complain about it. It is what it is. So with that being said, again, if you care, if you value the information you get here, it would behoove you to support. That's all I'm going to say about that. If you don't, oh well. I'm still, you know me, I'm still going to do what I do, but I'm going to make sure that the content is valued, and by force or otherwise, you know, through things such as Patreon, where, you know, it's only going to be, only certain people will have access to that hard-hitting information. It won't be open to the public. Public doesn't obviously value it, because value is defined as what? The amount someone is willing to pay for it. So if you value the information, then you would donate. Enough said. So Patreon is where, I might as well go into that real quick. Patreon is where you can access said information. I'll put that up right here. Excuse the shakiness because I affixed my phone to a holder and it's kind of wobbly. So patreon.com, it should be right there on the screen. That's where you can join our family and get that private insider information if you're interested. Pay attention to the videos that I put up. I've been putting little teasers up and basically inducing people to come on over to the Patreon during the week. I give a little nugget or so, and then I say, if you want to know more, come on over to the Patreon. I mean, that's just business. That's just how you do it, right? You market and advertise. And so, yeah, that's where you do it at. Again, if you would like to show your support, you can always do so through our Cash App, $AmericanConsulate, scrolling across the bottom of the screen right there. And that's where you can show your support. Yeah. So again, I was only coming on here to see if people were interested in conversating. I know it is Sunday, the day of the sun, and people have things to do. I get it. But I've been doing this for months now. So if people were interested, they know where to find on Sundays between 10 and 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So it's not like people don't know. So what do you think about the Maui fires? Anybody want to chime in on that, or dare you? Anyone dare chime in on that? All right. So, what else is going on? Yeah. So I'm going to be filing this declaratory judgment. I think I'm going to try it on the state level first. I think I am. I have different filings that we're going to be doing though. So eventually I will be doing a federal one as well. But for right now, I think I'm going to start on the state level. Just so, excuse me. Just so it cannot be said, it won't be said that, well, did you use remedies at the state level before coming to the federal level? You know how that works. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm working on it currently. So again, I'm just on here. As long as people want, you got questions, anything you want to talk about, anything I've covered throughout the week, this is your opportunity to do so. But I will not belabor. Got questions? I recommend that you ask them now. Any questions? Let me see how I can. I'm going to see what happens when I do this. Can you hear me? I think you can hear me. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? Anybody? Let me know. So what I'm going to do, all right, let me know if you can hear me in the comment section. All right, Joseph Hansen says he can hear. Thanks for being here. Thank you for that confirmation. I appreciate that. All right, so this is Q&A time. If you've been around here for any amount of time, if you've, you know the messages, you know what we talk about here. I just wanted to jump on here and allow you to ask questions about content, something I've covered. Lately, we've been covering the declaratory judgment. I also put up a video for a short few hours that I contend provides the remedy that many have been looking for when it comes to the distinctions between the legal entity, the human personalities, and what have you, the distinctions between them. I'm currently in the middle of filing a declaratory judgment petition, going to that, where what I contend will be unavoidable when it comes to having to give an answer to those declarations from the state. And we will see in short order if I'm correct. So I just wanted to get on here and allow you to ask your question. Your time to ask a question. Where is it? All right, there. See that? All right. So that's what I'm waiting on. Have any questions? All right. So Joseph Henson says, I was watching live on YouTube. However, I had to open the application, which then opened another YouTube window, which allowed me to comment. Huh. Interesting. I was watching live on YouTube. However, I had to open the application. Interesting. Why do you think that was? I wonder. Okay. Billy says no problems here on YouTube. Yeah. I don't know what's going on, Joseph. I have not the faintest clue. All right. Anybody have you, Joseph and Billy, have you guys watched this past week's uploads and what have you? And what did you think about them? Interested to hear your input. Again, I'm currently working on a declaratory judgment, which will be filed. I'm thinking on a state level first. I will be subsequently filing a federal declaratory judgment as well. Remember, we covered the purpose for the declaratory judgment, which is to define the rights, the legal obligations between yourself and another interested party. My research has persuaded me that the declaratory judgment is the proper way to obtain what's called status correction. Okay. And so if that's what you are in pursuit of, one thing I can assure you of, as per at least the Wisconsin statute, is that this is the way to do it. A declaratory judgment is created legally for that purpose. So, and the proper venue having jurisdiction to deal with that issue, to make those legal determinations, to interpret the intent of the legislature when it comes to laws, statutes. Oh, awesome. Is the declaratory judgment, is the judgments are issued by the judiciary. And so that would be the courts. And so what we've actually been doing, as opposed to what we perhaps should have been doing, was drafting affidavits, documents, right? Legal documents or whatever, signing them, notarizing them, and sending them to various agencies of state. And so that's improper, obviously, because the law expressly states that it is a declaratory judgment which defines the rights, the status, and legal and or human obligations. Okay? That's what it is. So a little bit for you there, a little something for you there. And so I'm on page actually 28 of my declaratory judgment. Now, I made certain also to find an active declaratory judgment or a declaratory judgment that was filed, and to not reinvent the wheel, but to kind of use it as a template to make sure that the one that I am drafting is in accordance with actual law. Again, I contend that most of the issues in our pursuit of the elusive remedy is most of the issue is that we are not using things that are backed by actual law. And so you will get the blank stare or the disdain of the court or the judge and the prosecutor, and they're shaking their head and they're telling you this is more of that sovereign citizen stuff, because it's not actually backed by law. It is theory as opposed to current practice of law. Okay. And so, again, the remedy has eluded us because we haven't really had any backing by law. Joseph Henson says, I watched your last Patreon on just 15 minutes ago. Awesome. What did you think about it? Interested to hear your comments about it. Billy says, I haven't had much time. However, I did come across the SCOTUS hiding a case brought forth by the Moors. Ooh, do share. Do share, Billy. What did you want to discuss that case? If you want to come on, I can send you a link if you wanted to share. Otherwise, you can give us a brief summary or even cite the case so that we can look into it. That would be cool. Joseph Henson says, I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and I am willing to act as a guinea pig to test the test process for declaratory judgment. Oh, okay. Well, check this out. The good thing about this is, and what, is that, you don't really have to be a guinea pig because it's in law, right? So it's a very safe bet, is what I'm saying. There is case history known as case law. There is precedent, right? And so you don't really have to be a guinea pig. Unlike, theories of the 1099s and a Treasury direct account that belongs to you, the jurisdictional issues where people are saying that the judge or the court or the prosecutor doesn't have jurisdiction. Those are what they call the sovereign citizen type theories, but not when you bring actual law. When you bring actual law in proper context and what have you, you're not a guinea pig at that point in time. Okay? You're just not. But I get what you're saying. I appreciate that. If you want to work together on this, hey, let's do it. All right, let's do it. Or you can reach out to me at KnowledgeWell, the number 4, the letter U at gmail.com. I can put that up for you. Yeah, I'm at this particular point in time, I'm so ready for people who are actually doing things, not hypothesizing only or strictly, not just having itching ears. At this point in time, I'm only wanting to deal and work with people that are actually ready to move, that are moving, that are not desperate, right? I've run into that, for most of the career here. A lot of people are just desperate. A lot of people just, I have an incident. They'll call you at the day before, they're about to go into court. A certain desperation, and that's never a good position to be in. And so, but if you are actively ready to work, put stuff in, and do what it takes, heck yeah, let's do it. Let's get together. Hit me up, KnowledgeWell4u at gmail.com. All right, let me get back here. Joseph Henson says, is a declaratory judgment a type of affidavit? It is not. It is a petition. Okay, it's a petition. You're petitioning the proper venue jurisdiction to make a determination and to declare the rights, the status, and legal obligations or or moral obligations. And you have to make sure that it's between adverse parties. The other party has to have a legal interest in an adverse, I should say, interest. There are certain criteria, okay, that that you have to meet. Here, let me see here. The controversy must be between persons whose interests are adverse. The party seeking, a controversy in which a claim of right is asserted against one who has an interest in contesting it. The party seeking declaratory relief must have a legal interest in the controversy. So if you don't have any standing in the issue, if it's, let's say it's your mom or let's say an uncle owns some property, somebody did something or is trying to violate their right to that property, and you go and try and file a declaratory judgment, or then they're going to be like, well, what interest is this of yours, right? Because you're not legally interested in the controversy, right? And so you have to have a legal interest in the controversy that you are looking for a declaration concerning. All right. The issue involved in the controversy must be ripe for judicial determination, and ripeness means basically it has to seek a declaration of law concerning something like the procedural due process available to you or whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So what I would recommend, if you are truly interested in that, is to go back, or if you're not a Patreon subscriber, I would recommend that you first of all become one, and then go and watch that my later video on declaratory judgment, because I did a pretty I laid it all out. So that'll answer all of your questions for sure. All right. Let's see here. All right, Billy, thank you for that. And so you'll see if you can find the case. Yeah, feel free to share. Joseph says, my house is paid in full, all vehicles paid in full, and working on getting rid of mailbox, land patent, or a allodial title on house. Putting all property in trusts, FOIA with UCSIS, etc. Okay. Okay. So my house is paid in full. Okay. Touche, but how should I put this? Though the house is paid in full, okay. The issue is, citizenship, status, rights, legal versus human rights. Okay, this is why I'm bringing up the declaratory judgment. Okay, there is a prima facie case against all residents, citizens, etc., and that is that through your allegiance, your residence, your titles, you essentially have placed everything into trust, public trust, where your particular state gets to profit, as it were, or at least benefit from your allegiance through all of your items, assets, interests, properties, all of it. Okay, without you, the state in which you reside would have nothing. And when I say you, I mean all people like you as well. Everybody in your community, your political community. All right. Without all of your things, just to put it plainly, the state is poor, wretched, undone, and eventually would just cease to exist. That's the skinny of it. And that's where the public trust comes into place, okay? Because it is assumed, presumed, prima facie, right, that you're on board with the establishment, the perpetual existence of the state. Well, what does it take for the state to have a perpetual existence? It takes people that believe in it, that want it to succeed, that want it to flourish. And how does a state flourish? An artifice. How does a fictitious, I should say, entity exist? It's through the belief, like fiat currency, right? It's just paper with ink on it, but you tend to be persuaded that it's worth something. Okay. And so you believe beyond beliefs, you hope beyond hope is what you're doing. We give it the power to exist, just like the boogeyman. Okay. The boogeyman does not really physically, tangibly exist. But if you fear it, it does, because you give it the power through your fear, through your reservations, inhibitions. You make the intangible tangible, because think about it. You get frightened, afraid of that which is not even there. However, real effects are displayed in you physically. You sweat, your heart rate the palpitations of your heart increase, right? And the velocity increases. All kinds of physical things happen to you, even though the impetus, the stimulus, is not even real. It's not tangible. You see? And so this is how fiat currencies work. This is the same way that the states work, the public trusts, everything. It's intangible, right? But it manifests in a very tangible form through you. You are the medium or whatever, right? And so with that being said, all is in trust in the state. Now, with that being said, there is a process to terminate the trust, right? Not the public trust, because there are still people in need of the services, right? There's still the infirm, there's still the handicapped, there's still the fatherless, there's still widows. So there are people that are still in need of the public trust. So it's not the totality of the entity that terminates. It's your particular dependency and need upon the system. It's an individual trust, your individual trust. And the way that is terminated is at the age of the majority,
which is essentially, if you know about trusts and the various capacities of trust, the trustor, trustor, the beneficiary, the trustee. Okay, the trust has a duration of time that it is to exist. Okay, and that time is determined by the trustor, the one who establishes the trust in the first instance. And so when that predetermined time comes, it is time for the trustee, the manager, the administrator of that trust, to settle all matters, all bills, just like in the state when somebody has transitioned, right? And you're going through the process of probate, right? The executor is there to pay all debtors, pay all creditors, everything that is owed, right? Pay all taxes from the estate of the deceased, settle up everything. And then whatever is left, right, gets distributed to the beneficiaries. That's the job of the executor, and it's identical to the job of the trustee when it comes to matters of trust. Okay, and so with that being said, all things, including houses, vehicles, all of that property is in trust. And there has to come a time, or there should come a time, where the beneficiary of that trust ages out, where it is time for the executor, the trustee, to settle all the debts, obligations of the beneficiary. And whatever is left then goes to the beneficiary. Then the trust is done. The trustee's job is done. They get paid for their services. They walk away. The trustor walks away. The whole matter is closed. It's settled. And the beneficiaries, because they have obtained the age of the majority, some states 18, some states 21, now inherits everything minus taxes and all the debts owed to the creditors. And they go on about their way with their inheritance. That's it. So I dare say 99% of us have never dealt with the issues of trust, a lot of us don't even recognize who the real true beneficiary is of the system. Or, a lot of us don't know the capacities of the trustee. A lot of us don't know who the trustor, who even established the trust in the first place. If you don't know your rights, you have none. And that's the plight of the United States citizen, in contrast with the Native American, or American native, I'll say, in this paradigm, is the lack of knowledge. And what does the scripture say? My people are destroyed for what they do not know, the lack of knowledge. And that's what it is. I got this cookie from the study hall, and it's been in my bag. It's supposed to be chocolate chip and, like snickerdoodle or something. Good with coffee. Anything's good with coffee, right? It could be a stale cookie. Stale cookie. So, I mean, that was just a brief share when it comes to the things of trust. And if people just got that basic concept, I promise you, and I don't do that much, that if the public schools were required to teach trust and trust law, we would have a euphoria. We would have a euphoria. And guess what? You wouldn't have huge businesses, right? You would have little businesses all over. Everybody would have a business. Everybody would have a business. Everybody would know how to retain and keep their wealth. Yep. It would be a whole different world. But alas, in a capitalist system, there must be haves and have-nots. It's just the way it is. So, Joseph, in closing, to address my house is paid in full, all vehicles paid in full, and working on getting rid of mailbox, land patent and or alloido title on house, putting all property in trust. That's good. However, oh boy, I mean, I'm even afraid to address that, man, because I'm going to open up a can or Pandora's box. How can I say this? When it comes to a vehicle, just like when it comes to any goods, everything has a serialization number. Everything that identifies it. Okay. That serial number is actually what is being claimed. It's not the automobile. It's not the house, the physical, excuse me, the wood structure, metal structure, whatever your house is made of. You know, it's not that. Look on the deed, the title, and you'll see it has a number. It's always the number, because why do we know this? Ask yourself a question. Is the state in the business of real estate? Is the state in the business of building automobiles? No. So what is the state's interest in? What is the state's interest in your automobile? What is the state's interest in your car? None of that. Not in the physical. It's in the intangible, which is numerical serialization. That's the interest. And so when you register something, what is actually taking place is the registration of the number. And what they do is they attach the VIN number to the automobile, to the physical automobile with rivets. And then they tell you, do not remove that VIN number tag, lest ye be indicted federally. Yeah, that's where the true power lies. Nothing to do with the wheels, the rubber, the metal, and the cloth seats or leather seats. The state don't have nothing to do with that. It's a sleight of hand, switcheroo. It was always about the number. It's always about the number. Think about yourself. What does the state have to do with your physical body? You're a human being. But what about the social security number that is affixed to the human being or to the legal entity that the human being identifies as, right? Yeah, it's always a number. Your refrigerator, for goodness sake, look on the back of it or on the side of it, and you'll see a tag with a serialization number. And then you can what? Register that for warranty purposes with the business manufacturer, with an insurance company. What does the insurance company have to do with your physical refrigerator, your physical car, your physical house? Nothing. They don't give craps about it. They're not in the business of creating refrigerators and cars. No, but they are in the business of insuring, and registrations and what have you. And all they need is the freaking number. That's all they need, because that refrigerator, that house, that car has one number assigned to it that can go anywhere. In fact, I could literally move to a whole different country and still own a refrigerator in the United States. Now, how is that possible? I can move to a completely different country and still own a house in the United States by the title in my possession, because what? The title is merely a piece of paper like a fiat dollar. But that title, just like that fiat dollar, has numbers on it. And those numbers are registered with the state, the country, the government, et cetera, because that is the only thing that they can be interested in. Not in the metal, plastic, paper, wood construction. Have you ever heard it said like that before? That's what it is. All right, going back to the comment section. We're at an hour. I'm going to be ending up here pretty soon. Joseph Henson says, I am a Patreon subscriber since early this year at 30 level once you decided to restrict content. Awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything you do, Joseph. Your money is not wasted, I assure you of that. Joseph Henson, the only reason I stated that is I am ready to go private. Oh, okay. Well, Joseph, yeah, we definitely have our own way of doing things. And we make sure that we back it up by law. If you're interested in that, make sure that you hit us up. I'll put it up again for you at the knowledgewell4u@gmail.com email, right there on the bottom. And we can get a private consultation with you and see what we can do to properly educate. Appreciate you. Thank you. Billy says, case number 2100401, KKS, U.S. Bankruptcy Court, Northern District of Florida, Tallahassee Division. All right. Okay, Billy, I will definitely take a look at that. Okay. And if anybody else feels so inclined, do so as well. And we can cross-reference and share our findings. Okay. Thank you for that, Billy. I'll definitely take a look at that. Billy says, if you blew... Oh. All right, Billy. That's an interesting... That's an interesting way to put that. All right. All right, so I did put it up there, so if anybody wants to check it out. Yeah, okay, if you want to drop the link, cool, Billy, go for it. Otherwise, like I said, you're more than welcome to come on and give your explanation of it if you feel so inclined. Corey says, Corey, I just wanted to thank you and your cousin James for your time and dedication. Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for your, as I stated before, there's definitely not much appreciation. There's definitely not much support here, definitely at KnowledgeWell. But kind words and things like that and expressions definitely mean a lot. I'll just tell you that. It means a whole lot. Yeah. All right. Well, hour and 3 minutes. Didn't get much participation here. But it is what it is. I believe I've given some things today that people can use. The trust is a major issue, and it will be an even more major issue going forward as this paradigm begins to roll over. You should know that you're going to see a lot of things. I'll just say, like the Maui situation, you're going to see a lot more. The alien disclosures, all you're going to start seeing everything must come down in order for them, whoever them is, in order for them to institute the new paradigm or the new world. Everything has to come down. And if you think that the things that you've been experiencing, including, the C-19 and all that kind of stuff, if you think that that was something, let me just be one of the first to say you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. We haven't even seen the fallout of the interruption of the supply chain yet. Yeah, you haven't seen it. You've seen a little spike on the eggs, a little spike on the gas. You know, you've seen a little bit of something. But I assure you that as a major earthquake, first you start to feel the tremors before the earthquake even hits, right? The tectonic activity and whatever. First you feel, you see the birds start to fly out of the trees. Like, what in the world is going on? What spooked them? You know, all these things happen first before the actual event even takes place. And then that's not even dealing with the fallout of the incident, because after the incident, then you start to see all of the resulting activities and effects. So we got a long way to go in this thing. We got a long way to go in this thing. We ain't even, I use the analogy of a whip, right? So there's a hand, there's a handle, and there's the whip, right? So obviously the hand is controlling the whip. The hand is connected to the handle of the whip. And then the material from the handle of the whip all the way out, you cannot disregard the smallest part of that whip, because that's what's going to do the most damage. The damage is not at the handle. The damage is not done by the hand per se of the holder. The damage is done by the very end, all the way out to the tiniest part of that whip. But when that baby touches skin or any material for that matter, look out. And so, since the destabilization of the economy, or dare I say the world's economy, we ain't seen nothing yet. We just felt the start of the picking up of the whip from the holder. They just, whoo, and in slow motion, they're gonna go. They got to rear all the way back here. Watch somebody that is proficient and a professional at the operation of the weapon known as a whip, a real one. Watch it in slow motion. How many different processes or perspectives or movements are necessary? It's a very long, drawn out process. So what I'm saying is, again, it starts from here, holding the whip, you know, in slow motion, rearing back, all of these movements, right? And then yet there still has to be a coming forward, right? All the way down. And then that's not it. There has to be another pullback, because what you're doing is sending the shock wave from the whip's handle, from the operator down, and then you must pull back fast so that the end of that whip, when it touches, boy, oh boy. You ever been, remember them? Remember those? Exactly. So what I'm telling you in saying all that is that we're only at the analogy of a whip. We are only basically right here. Oh, it ain't even gone back yet. It certainly hasn't gone forward yet. And it certainly hasn't been a pullback yet, so that end hits you. Mark my words. So it's going to get very, 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 very dark. I assure you of that. Hold on tight. Get in position. Okay, so let's see let me catch up here. Joseph Henson says, Maui looked like all fires of the 1800s, the Civil War and Paradise. Definitely was not a wildfire. You know what, Joseph? You're right, perhaps. I'm just going to watch, but I got to stay diligent in my research and study, because the closer that we get to remedy the application thereof and what have you, and as this message is noised abroad and people wake up to the smoke screens, the fiat nature of currencies, lies or deceptions and what have you, the more that happens, the more that the powers that be or were need to create more smoke screens and more intense activity to distract, to keep you, because the old system still has to come down. Make no equivocations about it. It's coming down, and the new one will be instituted. Yeah. There ain't no stopping that. Mark that one. All right, Billy. History has a tendency to repeat. Yes. But I will piggyback on that and say, first of all, realize what the subject matter is in that statement. It is history. And that is not merely incidental that it is spelled that way or, expressed that way, because it is truly his story. And as long as the writers of his story are in control, they will continue to enact those things that have been proven to produce a desired result. And so, yes, his story does repeat, because why would you reinvent the wheel? If it's worked in the Egyptian Empire, let's say, if it's worked in the Ottoman Empire, if it's worked in the Grecian Empire, if it's worked in the Roman Empire, if it's worked in the United States Empire, then why change it? I'm just saying. So yes, history does repeat itself. However, it is not outside of the controls of a man. The common denominator when it comes to the establishment and the continuum and then the subsequent destruction of empires is men. That's the common denominator. Joseph Henson says, I was born in Washington, D.C. and lived in same neighborhood as Rockefellers in Crestwood, D.C. And most of my family worked for government, so I understand what is out there. Thanks for that disclosure. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen some things, some things. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I wonder if you have a story to share. Maybe we'll do that one time. Just mentioned Maui because you did. I was not trying to digress. Oh, no problem. No problem. All right. Don't forget that nothing that we discuss here or at any point in time on KnowledgeWell media platform or anywhere else is ever intended to be legal advice. This is only intended as education for educational purposes and to affect in a positive way the existence of humanity. Okay? That's what I have determined to do, is to positively affect, grow culture, humanity, where I contend, or that I contend is diminishing. It's diminishing. Legalities, legal persons, are taking over. Corporations are taking over, and humans are now taking a backseat to these fictional juridical personality types, which is not going to per se end well, because inevitably, we're talking transhumanism. Now, how am I going to say this? I am not against the progress potential of humanity. I'm not against that. I understand that. We have a tendency to destruction. The human race, a lot of us, we get lazier. We eat worse and worse each year. We injure each other, we shoot each other, we hurt each other. I get it. And there are some, those scientists that turn out to be villains in the superhero DC and Marvel comics. There's always that scientist, I did it for the betterment of mankind. We must preserve our species. And the only way to do this is to reduce the population to 500 million. So I get it. I get that in the name of science, there are those that are saying it's for the betterment, to preserve our species. I get it. But there is this but. I also happen to believe that we haven't even discovered half of what this world really is. I happen to believe that and be persuaded that the things that are created cannot destroy the thing that created it. I think it's impossible. In context, okay? In context, come on now, okay? Because my mom birthed me, and in these movies and these shows, I killed my mother. Okay, so you destroyed that which created you. Okay, if you want to make that argument, fine, I'll give you that. I'm talking on a bigger level, is what I'm saying. After the order of the conversation of God as opposed to creation, right? The intangible, all-powerful, omnipotent, omnipresent entity, deity, what have you. I'm talking from that perspective. Likewise, we didn't create the earth. Therefore, how can we destroy the earth, is what I'm saying. If we haven't even discovered some of the most remote areas of this planet, how is our pollution, our carbon footprint that we minuscule human beings create through our little factories that are really, this big in perspective to the grand architecture? How is our little company that spits out a little plume of toxicity, if you will, going to destroy places we have never even set foot yet, is what I'm saying. But yet they want us to believe that our little productivity of this little plume of smoke and this carbon footprint or whatever is destroying the whole world, and we must do something now. But we ain't even set foot in certain places. You ain't even been to certain places of the ocean yet. How is it possible that we can chemically destroy the ecosystem in oceans? We ain't even been to certain places yet. Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. Whatever. Thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you for the well wishing. I accept that. Receive those. Thank you. But you get what I'm saying? We're being bamboozled. We're being put into a perpetual state of fear. We've been told that we're in danger. You know, now the alien invasion, all this kind of stuff, alien disclosure, whether or not you agree that there are other, of course there's other life. I can prove it to you. I don't have to sell you stories and make up things. We know that there's other life. Do you know how many bacteria, fungus, microbes are living inside of you that you have never seen and will never see without a microscope? Until somebody invents some type of high-powered microscope and dissects your body or takes a piece of your body, you will never know these other entities that are alive, existing, and feeding on you. I mean, you're just never going to see it. So that's an alien. Yes, there are other life forms. There is something living on something that is living off of something that is living, and that cycle is perpetual, off into eternity. So yes, there are life forms, other life forms. Yes, there are. And they're living on their own planet. You just have to define what you mean by planet. Because couldn't they, in their hierarchies of king-like structures, monarchs, or whatever they may be, they have a structure too, a hierarchy. I mean, you just look at the ant kingdoms. They have the queen bee, or excuse me, the ant, or whatever, the queen of the ant colonies. Then you got the bees. They have the queen bee. They have their hierarchy too. They're living in their own planet and in their own existence. And they are alien to us because they are not of us. Yes, there are other life forms. We all know it. Now, how far do you want to take this thing is the question. Because you ever got stung by a bee? You ever been chased by a group of bees? Well, those are aliens coming, or you are coming on your property or in your vicinity because they're feeling like you've encroached upon theirs. You've been invaded by aliens probably every day. You got ants, bugs in your car. You got bed bugs. You ever had that happen? You've been invaded by alien species every day. How many of you packed up your stuff? Well, some of us, man. Bed bugs probably kicked you out of your own crib for a little while until you bombed it, right? So you've been displaced. Are you getting what I'm saying? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? So why would we suddenly in 2023 think that this is earth-shattering news that a foreign species is invading or could invade? We don't act like that in our natural happenings every day. You're invaded in your home, in your car, while you're out in the atmosphere, and I mean in the public. Foreign species are invading us all the time. You deal with it. Get some repellent, dress a certain way. Come on, man. It's all a distraction, is my point. You still have to deal with the fact that if you don't know your rights, you have none. When it all comes down to it, you got to deal with that. And the real enemy of your individual, personal human rights is, or I should say, are those who have created, constructed, and contrived a type of entity that if you are not careful, you will identify as, therefore being made subject to the rights of such entity, which are not human rights. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? With that being said, I'm going to get off of here. Heather Bell says, parasites. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Welcome. Glad you made it. So if you're picking up what I'm putting down, this is why I do what I do. All right. And we win. We win. We win. We win. No matter how you look at it. If you're awoke, if you're awake. Okay. So let's just keep doing what we're doing. I'll leave this one up because I didn't reveal too much. But if you have not already, make sure you go over to the Patreon and become a member. I mean, I really, as the title of this one says, what more can I say? I've literally spelled it out in the last couple of uploads on the Patreon. Literally put it out there. Now, if you don't know what to do with the information, that is why I extend to you consultations. That's all I have to say. Again, none of this is intended to be legal advice. It's for educational purposes only. Go over to the Patreon, join us so that you can have access to that hard-hitting information that I have put there. Literally. You go from day one of Patreon to the last two uploads that I put there. Freaking write your book, write your manual. You're done. Stick a fork in it. I've given it to you. Ending with even the procedure in order to institute the things that you will learn, which is the declaratory judgment, which establishes, defines your rights, your status, your standing, your obligation as a human, as opposed to the legal obligations of a juridical, or juristic person. I've done all the freaking homework that is necessary. Go to the Patreon, get the subscription, go through it. Now, you got any questions? You need to talk it over. How does this apply to me particularly? Get a consultation. Make it simple for you. Consultations to, once again, KnowledgeWell, the number 4, the letter U, at gmail.com. Can't get more simple than that. If you appreciate the information, the contents, go ahead and support through your donation to $American Consulate. That's our Cash App. Okay, looking at the comment section. Joseph Henson says, I understand. Awesome. Very good. Any other questions? I got to get off of here. Cookie? Coffee. Anything else? Anything else? All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then I'll go ahead and end this one. Thank you for being here on this lovely August the 13th, a little overcast outside. Get out here and enjoy a little bit of the weather. Eat good. Learn good. Educate good, right? Be good. We shall overcome. Appreciate you all for being here. Joseph, thank you for being here. Heather Bell, thank you for being here. Billy, thank you for being here. If you didn't sign off, then I don't know to call you out, but I'm happy to give shout outs. So just let us know that you are, in fact, watching. Spidey. All right, no other comments? Then I will go ahead and jump on off of here. We'll see you next week. If not before, I'll continue to try to drop little jewels throughout the week. It's time to apply the remedy that we have discovered here at KnowledgeWell Media. And now you've been made free. The question is, what will you do with it? We'll see you next time. Love you all. Thank you.
Subscribing and sharing our YouTube channel, KnowledgeWell Media, or by going to our Square site at knowledgewell-media.square.site and perusing over the available content and information. Also by submitting your email at the bottom of the Square site page in the Stay in the Loop section to receive priority information, specials, and other insider details. Or by signing up for a 1-hour consultation to tailor your specific educational needs in beginning your journey. You may do so at the aforementioned Square site, once again at knowledgewell-media.square.site.